Oh my goodness, we were terrifying.
It was great.
We lost.
Spoiler! Oh, 3 fear away, Ryan! 3 fear! 3 freaking fear!
Welcome to the Kindred Spirit Podcast, a show all about the board game Spirit Island. Here we'll talk about analytics and strategies within the game, as well as a plethora of other topics that can be found within it. Today we kick off our adversary series with our analysis of Russia.
Soviet Russia.
Yeah, here we go. Привет, комрад. Время пришло.
Alrighty.
Oh, hey!
It was my turn to say it.
Nani, you flipped the script.
It is I, says I.
Alrighty, well, welcome to our long-awaited and infamously notorious adversary series. Woo-hoo!
We're finally starting it.
Here we go. And so this is a series where we are going to go and look at each of the adversaries one by one, and we are going to also make our own comments with our own opinions on them, but we are going to look at all of what you had to say as well. So I am very excited to get this whole thing underway. And so
talk about starting with a bang. Russia, we're jumping into the deep end here.
Ooh,
they are tough. 11 difficulty?
Oh my gosh, yeah, when fully maxed out. Good night. So let's get into it. Russia, let's learn a little bit about them. The Tsardom of Russia has long been an agricultural and technologically backward state, but all that has begun to change with the rule of Peter I. Desperate for an ice-free port in the north to supplement the frequently frozen harbor of Arkhangelsk and hemmed in to the west by the powerful kingdoms of Sweden and Prussia, Peter I committed aggressively to the Northern Alliance begun by his grandfather Michael I, sending poorly trained but massive armies to assist the continental wars against France and Spain. In exchange, Sweden ceded Russia a portion of the Murman coast, and Peter built a new northern capital and seaport at St. Petersburg at the ice-free Kola Bay on the Arctic Ocean. This gave Russia free access to the North Sea throughout the year and led to a substantial increase in Russian shipping and shipbuilding. At the time, Peter expanded Russia eastward. Cossack explorers had already reached the Pacific coast by the year of Peter's birth in 1672, and Peter sent new, larger waves of settlers along the Arctic coast to swell the populations in these eastern lands. The Tsardom of Russia is the newest colonial power in Europe. Having recently emerged as a fledgling naval power, given their control of a massive population as well as the vast lands of Siberia, Russia has no need for additional population or land. Instead, the early Russian colonies have focused on the rapid exploitation of natural resources that require minimal infrastructure to extract, notably furs and ivory. So there is the lore behind Russia in the timeline of Spirit Island. The rulebook is here to advise the players that this adversary is notably easier for spirits that can prevent explorers from entering the game. So I can see Finder here with Isolation. Downpour with Isolation. Keeper with all of the Wilds tokens. Or for spirits that have good Explorer control. Once again, Finder has good control, but there's a lot of characters out there that have decent control, like River and even Bowden as well.
Oh yeah.
In that one very specific instance anyway. And also spirits that can do damage to each invader will do well. So this can be, once again, River. Mist also is one of these kind of characters. However, this adversary is notably harder for spirits that have a hard time controlling explorers. So anyone that has low control opportunities ain't going to do so well. However, there is one thing I'd like to note, and that is the fact that at Russia level 2 beyond, whenever you would go and destroy an explorer, we will get into this in a second, you move them instead, generating 1 fear. Which means that if you can do some damage, you can get some explorer control, kind of indirectly, but a little bit helpful there. So
the difficult part is, like we've experienced, fear can be your detriment if you go through the fear deck too fast.
Yes, the fact that higher levels of Russia can hide their own cards in the fear deck, which means that they have fun little nasty surprises for you. But still, this is one of those darned if you do, darned if you don't kind of things.
Fear's bad, but
because
fear's
fear
good.
is the very thing you need need in every game
to win.
Yet at the same time, they have some fun little bombs waiting for you to blow up in your face. So anyway, those are the spirits to whom the rulebook suggests for both yay and nay. But let's go and examine Russia themselves. What do they do? What do they bring to the table? Well, first off, Russia has an additional loss condition. Not every adversary has this. At the moment, there are only 2 adversaries that do not. Brandenburg, Prussia, and Sweden also doesn't add any additional loss conditions. However, all the rest do. So, Russia, their additional loss condition for just simply being on the field, doesn't matter what level you have them on, just simply being there, they have a loss condition called Hunters Swarm the Island. Put any beast destroyed by the adversary on this card. Then, if there are ever more beasts on this card than there are on the island, the invaders win. As we will describe pretty soon here, Russia actually goes and hunts down beasts, which is not normal. And if they can kill enough beasts, they can actually win the game right then and there, regardless of any other condition. So that is one thing that's kind of interesting. This is a hunting faction. Interesting. Furthermore, their escalation effect is called Stalk the Predators. When they do their escalation effects on all the stage 2 cards, on each board, add 2 explorers total among lands with a beast in it. If you can't do this, instead add 2 explorers among lands with beast on a different board. So they are looking for the beasts and they are hunting them down, spawning extra explorers. And Russia's explorers are very, very bad.
And when it says add 2, that's not explorer, so not even Downpour or Finder can isolate, right?
Right, that's not an explorer. It's just bink, at them.
They're just there.
They're just there. So it's not like stopping an invader action. Then just beep boop, here I am.
It's like they have to be added. Ugh.
Anyway, you will quickly learn that the thing that's crazy about Russia is that their explorers are the big problem. Some adversaries have really bad buildings. Like England buffs the health of buildings, where Sweden buffs the damage of buildings. Well, those are certain building effects, but this is a faction that focuses on explorers, which is kind of really easy to predict. I called that a mile away.
You did say that.
I was like, oh my goodness, Russia's going to have nothing but explorers, because they're all about the people. They're always about the people. I thought that they wouldn't be hunters. I thought that they were just going to spam them. Like, oh, Russia is known for 1 billion people. Right. So let's go and just spam the field with 1 billion explorers.
The adversary France kind of already adds double explorers during an explorer, so maybe they just don't want to repeat that.
I think that, as well as if they didn't have something unique with their explorers, then they would be too easy to kill with characters that do 1 damage to each invader.
Right.
Because then Raging Storm will be like, haha, pow.
They're all gone.
Oh no, they added 5 explorers? All dead.
Hang on. We gotta get to...
So, at base difficulty, they are at difficulty 1. Habsburg, for instance, at their base difficulty, they're level 2. So Russia at base is only level 1. So you will increase the difficulty of your game by 1 if you want to numerically chart your games by how difficult they were and you want to score them accordingly. So, that is without any of the levels. So, let's go and describe what happens on the various levels.
Let's get into level 1. It is called Hunters Seek Shell and Hide. During setup, on each board, add a beast. Nice.
Hey.
And 1 explorer.
Uh-oh.
To the highest numbered land without buildings. During play, explorers do +1 damage. When Ravage adds Blight to a land, including Cascades, destroy 1 beast in that land.
So...
This is where it really changes things.
The foundation of the nation's identity comes here. Also, they have an additional fear card for level 3. Oh dear. So, level 1 is a difficulty 3, and it cements what their basics are, which are... Explorers do 2 damage. Always.
They're towns now.
Yep, they're basically towns. Explorers still have 1 health, thank goodness, but the problem is a lone explorer unattended will now blight a land.
How often do we we don't have to worry about that land during Ravage?
Because it's just a lonely explorer.
It changes everything. We're basically a lot more lands now.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a beast user who can spit out more beast tokens, this pelt thing where they destroy the beast with the cascades, that really
is ridiculously hard, because if you don't have any beast users, at game start, you're going to have 2 beasts per board. It's going to be very easy for them to find those beasts and hunt them down very quickly if you don't have someone else to also add additional beasts.
Especially if it's solo play, especially like you're saying if you're not using beasts.
Furthermore, not only do they get to add add additional explorers and add additional beasts during the setup. But, as we described, explorers do 2 damage. But, when Ravage happens, Blight now destroys beasts.
Changes everything.
That is something that completely changes the game because beasts have always been immune. Bad guys don't come after them.
That's why you like Sharp Fangs.
One of the reasons why I love Sharp Fangs is because invaders will go after Dahan, but they won't go after beasts naturally. The only way to lose beasts is with an event or
That was the only way.
way for you to sacrifice your own beasts
With the
on
power,
purpose.
yeah.
But you are doing that, and you are aware of that. Now, though, if you do nothing, beasts will still die. So you have to protect yourself, and you have to protect your Dahan, and you have to protect your beasts.
It's like a video game when you have to, like, escort someone.
Yeah, it's those stupid cursed escort missions.
I hate the escort missions because you're just like, I just have to worry about my own health in a shooter video game or something.
Yeah.
But when I have to care about someone else, that hurts.
I hate it. It's the worst. And the worst is when you have to do like a follow mission where you have to tail them.
Oh, yeah.
Or there's a friendly NPC and their movement speed is faster than you can walk, but it's slower than you can run. So they're running at like this medium speed, and when you're walking, they get ahead of you. But when you're running, you leave them behind.
And NPCs are always so dumb.
I
Like,
know!
I'll run out into the middle of the fire. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh my word. Anyone who played Resident Evil 4 knows exactly what we're talking about. Sorry. I'm fine. Anyway, so that's level 1. Level 2.
Oh, that was just level 1.
That was level 1.
Okay, I'm going home. I'm scared.
I like how their difficulty goes from 1 to 3 when they go from base to level 1.
Just like that.
At level 1, the difficulty increases by 2. Alright, so now, going to level 2, the difficulty increases by 1, so now they are at difficulty 4 at level 2. They add another fear card to the deck, so now it has 11. You acquire the next trait. And this one is another very identity-defining trait with this country.
Yeah.
A sense for impending disaster. I hate this one. The first time each action would destroy an explorer. If possible, one of those explorers is instead pushed. 1 fear when you do so.
Oh, okay.
The reason why this one is so bad
this
is
the
because...
face palm of just
oh
like,
my gosh.
they won't leave.
They don't leave. What this means is when you kill explorers, if you're killing one of them, they move instead. Now, granted, this is a double-edged sword where on the bad side, you don't kill them, but on the good side, you get more fear.
Yes.
That is true. Unfortunately, they are adding additional fear cards to the deck, but we played a game where we were getting so much fear for explorer, quote-unquote, destruction. Now, thankfully, how it works is if there are multiple explorers in a land, let's say I had 4 explorers in a land, and I used Suffocating Shroud with Mist to go and do 1 damage to each invader, let's say. Well, what would happen is if I do 1 damage to each invader, all of them die except for 1. So 3 of them die just like normal, but that last one will get pushed somewhere else instead, and we will generate a fear. So that is what happens. In general, what this means is you will be killing less, but generating more fear. This is what I was referring to with if you don't have someone who can control explorers, but you have someone who can do damage, you can actually get control from it. Why? Because instead of killing them, you push them instead.
Yeah, it's a weird way to do control.
It's weird. And one thing that's very weird is if oceans are in play, you can shove multiple explorers onto the ocean.
Ha ha.
However, all but one of them will drown and he will swim back to shore, generating a fear.
Those
I know.
Soviets!
It's the worst.
I come back stronger.
It's like, come on! Stop it! So, all but one die, but that one will come back to shore and be like, ooh.
Ooh, you could do Suffocating Shroud on a coastal land. He gets pushed, and then push them into the ocean. Ha!
And then it's once per action, so drowning would be the next. So he comes out. They always come home. I'm sorry.
Russians!
The thing that is so annoying is that it says the first time each action.
You're right.
So if you would have something that would go and be like, hey man, I have a card that moves him, you have a card that kill him. Well, I also have a card that kills him. Sorry, you're just going to keep moving that guy.
Just moving them around.
You're going to be shuffling them around, but you are going to be generating fear. So, like I said, there's
They're
a
not
thumbs
leaving.
up and a thumbs down effect as well. So there they are at level 2.
Level 3, they ratchet up to difficulty 6, and their fear cards kind of get shuffled around. It was 4, 3, 4. Now it's 4, 4, 3. Still 11 fear cards, but now they're front-ended.
That's interesting.
It is. I actually haven't noticed it before.
Yeah.
Level 3, competition among hunters. Ravage cards also match lands with 3 or more explorers. If the land already matched the Ravage card, it still ravages just once.
Thankfully, for that second part, they don't get an extra Ravage action out of this, but the thing that's so vomit-inducing is that if they have 3 or more explorers in a land, they will also Ravage in that land, even if the Ravage card didn't originally say so.
So, Ryan, this is why I still struggle with control spirits being quote-unquote good, because, say, River wants to push...
I know, or Finder.
Or Finder wants to push people into a land. If there's 3 explorers, Finder didn't do anything better. They're still going to Ravage.
Right. This is a anti-control thing, and it's so annoying because you can't congregate Russians explorers.
You can't have kill sites because that will also Ravage.
Or if you are going to have a kill site, have just one. But
that's so hard.
I know. It can be really difficult. Finder can pull that off.
Sure.
But it's not going to be so easy.
River would struggle.
Right. Yeah, Travel River can do it a little bit better than Base River.
Good point.
But still,
I think this is another defining one because we had just played this game and we're always looking like, okay, there's just 2 explorers there. We're okay.
Right.
We always had to keep a mindful eye of 3 explorers in a land.
Right. So, at level 4, their difficulty increases by 1 to 7 difficulty.
Okay.
And they gain another fear card.
Nice.
So now they have 12 fear cards, and it's just evenly distributed 4/4/4 for terror levels 1, 2, and 3, respectively. They acquire the trait Accelerated Exploitation. When making the Invader deck, put 1 Stage 3 card after each Stage 2 card, which means that the new deck order looks like this. You have 3 1s, then 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3.
So this really speeds them up.
What this does is you still have your first 3 level 1 Invader cards. That's unchanged. But the majority of the level 3 escalation Invader cards are now intermingled with the 2s. So you alternate 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Luckily, this is an effect that you don't have to remember from turn to turn. It's a setup.
And I like that.
Right. So what this means is once you have reached stage 2, every other turn, they're going to 1 land, 2 lands, 1 land, 2 lands, 1 land, 2 lands. Like I said, luckily, this isn't the hardest thing to remember because the cards will simply be oriented in a very specific way. But these guys will be going to multiple lands a lot.
This is what's tough for me. You are either getting the stage 2 escalation, which I hate, or they're doing level 3 Invader deck.
Right.
So it's like, which one do I want? The escalation, or do I want them ravaging in 2 lands?
In a weird way, you're not going to be getting the escalation
every turn
back to back.
True.
But you are prolonging how often you're getting it. You're spacing it out. You know, some adversaries, when you get all 4 level 2s, it's like, all right, that's just 4 escalations in a row. I'm tired of it. I am so sick of these escalations, but at least they're all done.
That happens to me with England. It's like, okay, they're not doing that extra build.
And of course, I know that if you get the coastal land card, you don't get the escalation, so it's 3 in that case, but you don't know if you're going to get that card. But either way, at level 4, they simply alternate between going 1 land, 2 lands, 1 land, 2 lands, 1 land, 2 lands.
Even when it's 1 land, if you have 3 explorers, hey, look,
that's ravaging.
They're ravaging in 2 lands.
They have a lot of avenues for extra damage, seeing how their explorers do 2 damage, and they have more avenues for more ravage actions, because if 3 explorers, by the way, that's not a lot, people.
No.
And when you kill them, one of them's moving. And the thing is, you're going to want to have some lands clear, which means that you're going to congregate these guys a little bit easier and a little bit more often than you initially thought you were.
Because they're not leaving the board. It's so difficult to get rid of these explorers. There are always just at least one, like you're saying, staying on there, and then they're exploring. And then all of a sudden it's stage 3 explorers. So now they're exploring to 2 lands. And now they're still not leaving. It's just, you keep getting hit in the head with it.
Just get to level 5.
Okay, level 5. Level 5, it is 9 difficulty. We go to 13 fear cards. 4, 5, 4. It is called Entrenched in the Face of Fear. Put an unused Stage 2 Invader card under the top 3 fear cards. This is the first we've ever had to do this. And an unused Stage 3 card under the top 7 fear cards. When one is revealed, immediately place it in the build space face up. Oh, Ryan.
Hey, they get more additional builds.
Oh, no. This is what really kind of broke our back when we played this.
Oh, my gosh.
This was all of a sudden, because we were going through the fear deck so fast. We'll talk about our game, but we got to this stage
gosh.
The stage 2 invader card was revealed pretty quickly for us.
Right, so here's the thing where if you can read between the lines, you'll just vomit. And I barfed when I saw this. Not literally, but just mentally. I was like, bleh,
Yep,
bleh.
it was gross.
So look what it says. It says put an unused stage 2 card and an unused stage 3 card. Answer me this, Johnny boy.
I'm listening.
How many unused cards from each escalation deck are there?
1.
1. So if we put that 1 in the deck, what does that mean for how many stage 2 and 3 cards they use against you?
We're getting all of them.
Every single one. It does not matter which one you shuffle out. It just changes when they happen. Russia uses every single invader card except for 1, which is the stage 1 card. Yay. They're using every single freaking invader card against you.
And it's being stacked on top of the build that was already happening in the first place.
When we had our additional stage 3 card come
tell
in...
them what happened. You're like laughing hysterically.
And the laughter turns to tears.
Yeah,
So in the build location space on the board, we had a stage 3 card. So it was going to 2 lands already. So we had 2 level 3 cards in the build spot. One was Wetlands Jungles. The other one was Mountain Sand.
So they built in every land and then they ravaged in every land? Is that what you're saying?
Guys, they were literally building in every single land. And the next turn, they were attacking in every single land.
Try defending in every
single land in the game. We were like, oh my word, only the oceans are safe.
We're sea monsters. Can we swim out there? Oh no, we got nerfed in Jagged Earth. It's only 8 feet now, capped.
And if you were doing Russia and Scotland combo with Bilgewater, then literally every single land is under attack, and the oceans are under attack.
Dude, how do people do multiple adversaries? I don't. Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't.
Y'all crazy.
I don't know. The guys on Discord are doing it every day. But that's like my hat.
Tip of the hat.
It's a terrible day for rain. It's not raining. Yes, it is.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Salute all of our boys and girls and any in between in blue that are fighting for our freedom against the double adversaries.
Yeah, respect. Mad respect.
So, what this means...
We also had one where it came up as a coastal land.
Oh,
so
yes.
We had a wetland already.
That was our stage 2 card.
Okay, so we had the wetland already in the build space.
And then coastal land showed up.
Coastal lands.
Unfortunately for me, I was on D-board with 2 coastal wetlands.
Boy, did we have fun with this one, y'all.
Oh, you're just twisting that knife.
Last one.
So really quick, Entrenched in the Face of Fear, they're level 5. The reason why this one is so crazy is not only do they get extra builds, but they put this unsavory surprise in the Fear deck, which means the faster you get through the Fear deck, the faster they scale in their own escalation against you. So it's really annoying when you're like, haha, Fear card. Oh. And there's a bomb in your face. And you're just like, really? Come on, the Fear deck was such a source of happiness for me. Why did you have to go and poison it?
They ruined it.
All right, last but not least, at level 6, they are at difficulty 11, which is the highest for a single adversary, if I am not mistaken. They have 14, count them up, 14 Fear cards.
Is Scotland the next highest?
This is tied for the second most Fear cards. Only Scotland surpasses this number at 16. However, this is 14 Fear cards, and this is a 5/5/4, which means you have to get 5 of them in tier level 1, 5 of them in tier level 2, and only 4 in tier level 3. So luckily, once you get past tier levels 1 and 2, it gets just a wee little bit easier. Unfortunately, I don't know why I switched to Irish. When my brain is traumatized, I start to go crazy.
Stay with me, Ryan.
Hey, at least in Russia's case, they're actually helping you with fear generation. As weird as that sounds, because when you kill explorers, they give you extra fear. Anyway, 14 fear cards, and they acquire the trait called Pressure for Fast Profit. After the Ravage step of turn 2+, which just means after turn 2, on each board where no blight entered, in the land that has the most explorers, add 1 explorer and a town. So this means
Just keep
that
bringing them in.
if you did your job and you succeeded and you're like, haha, I was able to protect my land perfectly.
Which happened multiple times for us.
It
We're
actually
like,
did.
nice.
Like, yeah.
Wait.
No, the game punishes you for winning. So you add an explorer and a town if you did your job.
So I want to talk to the person who wrote... Whoever wrote up that little blurb in the Jagged rulebook.
And why do you hate me so much?
Hey, spirits that have wild tokens or isolation do really well against... No, they don't! Because level 6 just adds them, and then the escalation just adds them. They don't care about wild tokens.
No. So you can see now that Russia has a wonderfully equipped array to take on pretty much anyone.
Yeah.
Are you a player that is really good at stopping blight? Sorry, get punished. Are you really good with killing explorers and hiding them away and congregating them up in areas so that there's only a few problem lands?
I'm a rivermain.
Sorry, punish.
No!
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you like to kill explorers? Punish.
What about Bringers of Dreams and Nightmares?
Just punish all around.
No!
Triple punish. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you like to
Overkill.
use beasts and have them stay on the field for a while? Punish.
Headshot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you a fear spirit and you like to really generate all these fear cards? Punish.
Killtrosity.
Like,
Kilimanjaro.
Killtacular. Ooh, Russia's hard, guys.
But then there's Lure, and Lure's just like, hi guys, I'm really good against them.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a little bit, and all this to say that in addition to the fact that they are adding new build cards, and they are changing the way that the invader deck is structured so that you're doing alternate between 2 lands, 1 land, 2 land, 1 land, 2 land, 1 land. This can be really hard, especially for newer players, because if you are accustomed to just the normal escalations of the bad guys, this is going to seem a lot faster.
Oh yeah, it seemed a lot faster for me, and we've had hundreds of plays.
I would not recommend this for a new player. Remember how everyone, when we were adolescents and children in this mortal life on Earth, we all eventually grew up or are still in the process of growing up. If you are an adult, you have learned this truth. Life sucks, and it's hard.
Life's hard, kid. Wear a helmet.
So, if you want the innocence of adolescence, do not play Russia. If you are ready to live in the real world, or you already do, then you may as well play Russia and be like, hey, did you have a hard day of work? Have a hard day of play, too.
It's like, Bane, you merely adopted the dog. I was born in it.
Molded by it. However, of course, as it is also in life, the harder the difficulty, the greater the challenge, the better the enjoyment for conquering them.
What was nice is I don't think their rules are hard to follow as we were playing the game. It made sense to me.
A lot of their effects only happen in setup.
Yeah.
So, for instance, half of their level 1 thing is just during setup.
Yep.
Then the accelerated exploitation, that is a setup thing. Entrenched in the face of fear, that's just a setup thing. So the only thing you actually have to remember is beasts will get killed by ravages now. Then explorers do 2 damage. Then
they're harder to kill.
When you would kill them, you simply generate a fear and you push them instead. They attack in lands that have 3 or more explorers. And if you blight, then you're fine. Nothing extra. But if you didn't blight, add a town and add an explorer.
I don't know, it made sense to me while we were doing it.
Yeah.
It kind of flowed well.
I love how we say, there's actually not a whole lot of things. Then we list like 6 things.
But for some reason, all was like hand in hand. We're like, okay, we're focused on explorers.
Yeah, the theme seemed fine because, like I said, a lot of these things are just set up. Brandenburg, Prussia, by the way, one of the reasons why they are so easy, as far as easy to understand, is the vast majority of all of their difficulty things are simply because of the fact that their setup is different.
Yeah, and then just look for the escalation little symbol.
Fear cards change, and just the order of which the escalation cards come in. Yeah. So there is Russia and how they work and everything else they do on paper. So, as of literal seconds before we started the recording of this particular episode, we went and did our own game against the highest level Russia that we could. We did fully maxed out level 6 Russia with events, which, if you know me, I hate events, but I don't know. The events were actually kind of helpful this time.
They were 90% of them really good.
And that has never happened to me. I have never had this amount of luck.
You stacked the deck.
No, I didn't.
Good shuffle. It was a good shuffle.
With event cards. Now, I'm curious. With the events that we had, is that the kind of representation of event cards that you see in all of your games?
I think
They have never been this good for me.
it's never been that good.
Never been this good.
But I notice when I'm using token spirits,
Yeah.
say the Vengeance, the Beastie
Well,
Boy,
token users will be able to use event cards better.
so I prefer them much, much more when I'm using token spirits. Like when Many Minds has...
Bro, we didn't get a single strife or disease one.
Mostly
all of
beasts.
them were beasts.
Were they all beasts?
They were all beasts.
And for Many Minds, that helps because I, quote-unquote, wasn't doing damage, but the events were making my beast and your beast do damage.
So, we were doing a 2-player game.
Oh,
so
yeah,
2
sorry.
spirits.
Spoilers.
I was Sharp Fangs behind the leaves.
I was Many Minds move as one.
So we finally did one of our silly theme lists,
Oh,
which
so
was
fun.
Beast Bros!
Beast Bros!
A long time ago, we thought that pairing Sharp Fangs behind the leaves and Many Minds move as one would be an excellent combo. Oh my goodness, we were terrifying.
It was great.
We lost.
Spoiler! Oh, 3 fear, White Line! 3 freaking fear!
I'm sorry, headphone users.
Oh, we got so close. Oh, we're so close.
We were so close, and we will describe this and prove this point over the next half hour, but we literally did everything that was required to win, and the cards, the fear cards, let us down. But I am actually quite okay with this loss, because it actually doesn't feel like a loss.
It was like the best loss I've had.
Really freaking good.
I was playing so hard.
We did so good. So good that I am really proud of us.
It was tough.
Like, Paul Rudd, look at us. Look at us.
No, look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us. Look at us. We were doing about a fear card a turn.
Yeah.
Sometimes even more. At least a fear card. Oh my gosh.
I forgot how scary both of them are together. I don't know.
Oh goodness. And we had some clutch fear cards and events in the mid-game. Scapegoats got us 6 fear, I believe it was.
How did we still lose with Scapegoats? Now I'm embarrassed.
Ugh.
It's usually insta-win.
Unfortunately, we got demoralized as well, which is one of my favorite fear cards, but we got it early.
We got some of the good ones early. Scapegoats we got early too.
I hate getting demoralized early. Demoralize is defend 1 in all lands, or defend 2 in all lands, or defend 3 in all lands, depending on what tier level you're at. We got it at tier level 1!
Oh. It did help us in one spot.
However, we did get Scapegoats at level 2, which was pretty good. Scapegoats at level 3 is my preference, of course, but
it is the best.
It's kind of funny. What's that one fear card that actually gets worse with the progressing terror levels? Is that Trade Suffers? I think it is. Ah, well, that's just my opinion, though. I'll look that up later.
Okay.
But it is a pretty much understood statement that most fear cards get better from tier level 1 to 2 to 3. But, oh my goodness, when you see defend 3 in all lands, you're like, ooh, I want that. Sorry, you're at tier level 1. Like, you look at what you have, but you also look at what you could have had, and you're like, oh. But the positive, optimistic emotion I'm walking away with this game with was I honestly thought that was going to be harder because that was pretty
dang hard.
Russia's considered like the hardest single adversary.
They're the new baddie. They've kind of knocked England out of
We took them on without lure, and like I said, we'll explain this. We did all that we could to win and would have done so if it weren't for some really flubber fear cards at the end. So now let's go and explain various things that happen. Well, guys, I really do think that Many Minds and Sharp Fangs are really good.
Good combo, both.
Together normally, but they fare very well against Russia.
That's true. I like them mechanically and thematically. I liked working. I was pulling some of your beasts. You were pulling some of mine. I needed the beasts for defense. We were generating fear. It was just this swarm army.
Oh, dude, it was so great.
We
had so many beasts on the field.
Well, they were like bees or wasps, but then they would turn into jaguars or something, right?
For you were using small critters.
Yeah.
I was using large beasts.
Well, we had some good card drafts, too.
Oh my goodness, we had some fantastic cards.
I picked up pretty early Prowling Panthers, which is a slow power, but it has the elements I needed because it has that animal element. Mm-hmm. It targets mountains or jungles, which I feel like they were going to our jungles a lot, so that proved to be useful.
Mm-hmm. We did have a lot of clear sands and mountains,
yeah,
didn't we?
they barely went to the mountains.
That's true.
The first option, you can just generate 1 fear and add a beast token, which I use a couple times.
I love this one. For Fangs, I love this card.
And then flip it. If target land has a beast, which most of mine did, destroy and explore explore/town. So this kind of made me a little more potent because this was my actually only like damage card.
Right.
It was a minor. I had to pick it up.
And that's true because Many Minds actually doesn't have any way to do damage.
Yeah, this is my only way.
So this was actually really huge for you.
It was great. It helps me out.
It's fantastic, and it has the elements you need.
Yeah, it was everything I needed. What about yours?
Oh my goodness. All throughout this game, I had fantastic card draws. So I have mentioned this point in past episodes, and I will do so again now. When we get to the analysis of various spirits, we are going to go and look at a plethora of things. One of the things we're going to look for and talk about are what we personally think are the absolute best cards, whether they be minor cards, major cards, for all the various spirits. Just absolute perfect cards. And you've heard us talk about it. Jungle Hungers for green and Tsunami for ocean, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I got several of these cards for my Sharp Fangs. The first one I got was Inflame the Fires of Life. Now, this is a slow power costing 1 energy. It does require you to have a Sacred Site. Now, I don't really usually play Fangs as a Sacred Site user. However, they are flexible enough to make Sacred Sites, so it's not impossible. And it can target any land, and it says add a disease or add a strife and 1 fear. However, if you have 3 animal elements, you may do both, which means that you can do a strife and a disease and a fear. So this is a wonderful nugget of like a little bit of everything. You prevent one guy from doing damage, you prevent a build from happening, and you get a fear. However, what really catapults this into perfect, like the Zen, perfect thing for Fangs is because it gives you 4 elements. It gives you moon, fire, plant, and animal. Literally, all 4 of those are used and dramatically cherished by Sharp Fangs. Not a single one of those goes to waste, and not a single one is extra or unneeded. The plant and the animal are very nice to have, of course, for your ranging hunt innate power, but specifically the moon and the fire. Moon, not so much, but Sharp Fangs only has 1 card in their hand that has a fire element with Prey on the Builders. However, the level 2, the maximum level of Frenzied Assault requires 2 fire, which means you are going to have to find another fire card out there.
Hey, look what you found.
This gives you 1 of every single element you need. So the reason why Inflame the Fires of Life is so good is even though it doesn't really do a whole lot with beasts, it allows you to get every single element you need, and because you as Fangs are going to have a ton of animal elements, you are going to be able to do both of those effects, which is add a disease, add a strife, and get a fear. It didn't end there though, because I went and kept going and I found Savage Maw Beasts.
Ooh.
I think this card usually would be a little bit more thematically appropriate for Many Minds, but this is definitely a beast using card. It is a slow power that is free. That is really nice, because free cards are very nice for Sharp Fangs because Sharp Fangs gets a lot of card play, but doesn't have the best energy, so getting cheap cards is very nice.
Same with Many Minds. I was trying to look for cheapo cards.
I think Many Minds can use this easier because this is a Sacred Site requiring card, just like the last one I described was. But it says, from range 1 of a Sacred Site, if target land is jungle or a wetland, 1 fear and 1 damage. Then, if you have 3 animal elements, you get another damage. By the way, this card gives you 2 elements, fire and animal. Fire is the most critical for Sharp Fangs, but the animal is also quite nice. So, with the fact that you will pretty much always have 3 animal elements, this allows you to, if it's a jungle or wetland, 1 fear, 2 damage. Not the craziest card, but it is for free.
Oh yeah.
And that's always very nice. So
and
I was
it has
very
elements
glad.
that you need.
Oh yeah. I was very glad to get that one.
Wait, I got Quicken Your Struggles!
Yeah!
I like this one because you were talking about me making Sacred Sites, which Many Minds does, so I can get my presence to become beasts when they have a Sacred Site. So Quicken Your Struggles is range 0 and you need a Sacred Site, and you're usually like, blur. But Many Minds can travel so easily because I can gather and push beasts so much. So I'm moving my presence, my Sacred Site, which are basically beasts, and I was able to defend 10. And I often paired it with my unique power, Guide the Way on Feather Wings. I would shuffle Dahan along with them. So I was moving this beast/Dahan army, and they were doing my fighting for me.
That's awesome.
It was cool.
As our threat got more and more perilous, and as Russia was increasing in their number of towns and cities, which, by the way, in the early game, we had a really good...
I'm like, this seems easy.
We had a vice grip
on
them. We were doing really good.
We were generating fear.
We kept kept them to like 1 blight for the first few turns.
Yeah,
Just,
first
right.
3 Ravages, no blights.
Not at all. We were doing really
great.
great. The thing that really was unfortunate, though, was those stage 3 escalation cards coming.
Yep.
And then they went going to coastal lands and wetlands. But I had 2 coastal wetlands, so they built twice.
When that fear card revealed the invader cards, I think that's when the game took a turn.
That's when it started taking a turn, and they started to really put a lot of bad guys. They had what I would consider a normal amount of people.
Yeah.
And then very quickly in the span of like 1 turn, they went, and for me on my board, they built 3 cities.
Yeah. And they kind of lulled us
And
to
a
sleep.
town.
We were like, okay, this is not so bad. And then all of a sudden,
And then like, surprise!
white plastic everywhere. It was terrible.
Anyway, so
You
what
went
this-
for major.
I did.
early.
And so one thing that was interesting is the card Teeth Gleam from Darkness is a card that Sharp Fang starts with that gives you a choice of one of 2 things. You can either add 1 beast and get a fear, or if target land has both invaders and beasts in it, 3 fear. So I would love to do both, but you can't. So you have to choose. Either add a beast and get a fear, or just generate 3 fear.
That card kind of reminds me of one of Green's cards where you can get
Very much so.
You can get 3
Overgrown
fear.
at midnight.
Yes.
Yep, either 3 fear or
Add a presence, I think.
Add a presence,
Yeah.
yep.
It seems very similar.
very similar, yep. So I usually play this card for the first one because in early game and mid game,
We're trying to get beasts out there.
I want beasts. And it does
too.
give you a little bit of fear, but Sharp Fangs needs beasts so badly.
Who you telling? I need
So
beasts
badly.
too.
So I only ever use this card's second effect, usually in the late game.
Mm-hmm.
This time, however, I started using this one in the mid game. So I was using this one for fear, because having a beast in a land that also has invaders in it was quite easy.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, so in line with the fact that I was changing my strategy from less prevention and less stopping strategies and more towards just damage fear. John and I both transitioned from, let's stop worrying about stopping things. Let's just damage fear. So I went for a major in the mid game. I usually only go for majors in the late game.
Sometimes you never go for majors.
It is quite common for me, and especially with Fangs.
Yeah.
However, I think that is something I need to do a little bit more often, though, is make that transition from minors to majors. Anyway, but I found Savage Transformation.
Woo!
Okay, guys, let me bring you to class here.
Come gather around the fire.
Gather around the fire, because Savage Transformation is one of Fang's best cards, but this card specifically, in my opinion, is one of the best for countering Russia.
Some
Yes,
people say it's a weak major power.
I can see that. However, there are 2 bonuses here.
Okay.
1, it's good for Fangs. 2, it is good against Russia.
Perfect.
I'm Fangs against Russia. Yes, I'm counting those as 2 separate things. Why? Because Savage Transformation, as some of you already know what this does, but I'm going to read it anyway for those who have forgotten or who do not know. Savage Transformation is a major power, yes, but it only costs 2 energy. Given the fact that Sharp Fangs is a high card play, low energy character, this works quite well.
Yeah.
So it gives you 2 elements. It gives you moon and it gives you animal. These are elements that you already have and already use. Once again, none of them are wasted and you don't get any extra ones that you do not need. Furthermore, it says 2 fear, then replace 1 explorer with a beast. And the picture, by the way, the card art is of a bunch of explorers like turning into werewolves.
Oh, it's cool.
Dope.
Yeah.
So, not only does it give you fear, but it lets you take an explorer and transform them into a beast. First off, you get another beast. That is incredibly useful for Fangs, because with your first innate ranging hunt, the more beasts you have, the more damage you deal.
Right.
More beasts literally equates to more damage. Furthermore, the more beasts you have, the more times you can do Frenzied Assault, which is a very high damaging power, but it requires you to sacrifice beasts. So having more beasts out there is quite nice.
And just more beasts on the board for me as well.
Right.
To use and also to help us against that loss condition
Right.
of losing beasts.
But we have described to you why Russia is so difficult and why their souped up explorers are such a pain.
Destroying doesn't kill them.
Well, here's the thing. Not only are you getting another beast, they are losing an explorer.
But they can't. Wait, what?
Here's the thing, though. When you would kill an explorer, they just run away. Well, guess what? This isn't killing them. you are transforming them. This means that Russia can't do anything to stop this card. They lose a guy, you gain a beast. So the difference of upset is 2 in your favor.
You're thinking at home, you're like, oh, sweet, you're exchanging Explorer for a beast, whoop-de-doo. Against Russia, that means everything.
Is huge.
Everything.
1 Explorer is 2 damage that was about to hit you.
You're taking away a town.
Which is insane. Basically, Russia has towns for explorers.
Yep.
It's very strange. But killing explorers has never been more valuable. And this card not only doesn't negate them, but it replaces them.
Yeah.
The reason why that is so huge is because these guys are unkillable.
They're so hard to get rid
They're
of.
so hard to get rid of.
Just leave.
And so not only can you get rid of one of these really stubborn Soviets, but you also get another bro for your own team. But it gets even better.
Elemental Threshold!
Because if you have 2 moon and 3 animal, which if you are playing with Fangs is ridiculously easy, you will pretty much always be able to do this unless this is turn literal number 1.
Oh, you triggered it every time.
You will always get this threshold if you have a brain in your head. It says, replace an additional 1, doing the exact same thing in the same target land or an adjacent land.
Double kill.
You get to do this twice. Oh, this is huge. And with the fact that Sharp Fangs has reclaimed 1 on their tracks and reclaimed 2 later on, I was grabbing this card
a bunch
every single turn, and I was doing this card every single time. Guys, this was critical. It was getting us some much needed fear, and it was also replacing 2 explorers with 2 beasts.
And more beasts on the board, which we both needed.
Right. And I was doing my Frenzied Assault all the time.
Yeah.
Which was doing extra damage and
I was
getting
using
fear.
beasts for defense all the time.
This was huge. So, you can go ahead and put this card in your memory bank for cards that are perfect. And I mean perfect for Sharp Fangs or Many Minds. Yes, I know it may seem obvious, but the thing is Sharp Fangs and Many Minds are already quite good against Russia. This card is good against Russia even if you are not a beast user.
It's basically like a multiplayer.
But if you are a beast user and you are going against Russia, this was made for you. So I highly recommend this card.
Yeah!
So, yes, guys, if you're playing as any beast user in the future with expansions come out with more beast users and you are going against Russia and you find this card, please take it. Unless there is some other card that's even more perfect, this one was just absolutely divine. And I was very happy to find this one.
Oh, wait, I wanted to talk about my major power that I picked up.
Go for it.
Winds of Rust and Atrophy.
I love this card.
It's been around since the base.
Yep, it's been around for a while.
It's like my old tried and true. Whenever I see it, I'm like, defense 6, winds, and... All right.
It's like a root beer float. It's always sweet to see it. And you know what?
It always tastes good.
Always tastes good, even after all these years.
Even after how many years of playing this?
That's right.
All right, Winds of Rust and Atrophy is a fast power, clearly. It costs 3, but every single element, like Ryan was talking about, his ultimate cards, perfect for mines. You got air, you got water, and then you got animal, which all Many Minds uses.
Mm-hmm.
From range 3 of a Sacred Site. Range 3! Oh. I could have got anywhere on the board.
And Many Minds uses Sacred Sites so easy.
I was only making Sacred Sites because I needed more beasts.
Many Minds is definitely a Sacred Site user.
Okay, so 1 fear and defense 6. Replace a city with 1 town or 1 town with 1 explorer. And then, if you have 3 air, 3 water, and 2 animal, you can repeat this power. I did that.
Oh.
It was so great.
It can be repeated.
It can be repeated because you're thinking like, oh, defense 6, that's already a lot. We were having like 19, 18, 12 damage. In one land. So
one jungle.
I repeated this power on the same land just to keep no blight from coming in because there was like 13 damage coming in.
It was insane.
It was insane.
Absolutely insane.
Those stupid explorers do so much damage.
That's so annoying. And when you usually see all these explorers, like, that's fine. There's 5 explorers here. That's 10 damage.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's insane.
That was my major power, and it got us so close to the finish line.
Oh, goodness. Ironically, what they did is we had an event that came in that stalled the Explorer card, but the next turn, their Explorer, they would do 2 cards.
Yep.
And so what this meant was 1 turn we would have of like a tiny little break. This is a deep breath before the plunge.
Yeah.
Ding! There's our one Lord of the Rings.
Calm before the storm.
Anyway, so we had 1 tiny little moment to like act.
A reprieve.
Right, a reprieve. And so we wanted to maximize it because this was the turn after they did the attack in every single land. We spoke about how they had that one wonderful stroke of luck for the bad guys where they had 2 stage 3 cards on the same space, on the same build space.
Yeah.
Where they literally went to every jungle, mountain, wetland, and sand for the build. Of course, the turn progressed, and next turn, it was attacking on each wetland, jungle, sand, and mountain, and that's where the majority of our blight came from, unfortunately. We did blight, by the way, which is an obvious...
Oh, we blighted the island.
Oh, we blighted. But the turn afterwards, they were just ravaging in a single jungle.
We were fine with that.
And then that is when we got the card that staved off their explorer. So we're like, okay, this turn, this is the one where we're going to have to do something. Ironically, I had cleared off my other jungle, so I just had one jungle to worry about. Unfortunately, it had 2 blight in that jungle, had 1 town, 1 city, and 8 explorers.
Perfect!
But there was a disease there. So I had striped the city. Progress.
Oh, we're chipping away at him.
Oh, so I was like, okay, well, let's check the blight card. Well, we had a blight card that said you will add another blight unless you spend 3 energy per board or
destroy presence.
You destroy one of your own presence. It was like the Untended Land Crumbles, I believe it was called.
Yes.
By the way, if we had a better blight card, we probably could have won a lot easier.
Oh,
anyway, so we had just this one land to worry about because my one jungle was completely clear, and John had a clear jungle in one land, and his other jungle wasn't clear, but you had defended it.
I did.
So that one was good. We only had this one land to worry about, and it was critical that we stopped it. Why? Because we had a single blight left on the card.
Nice.
Even with the new blight change. Anyway, so we had one, and this land will blight if I don't stop it. And I had stopped all the other ones, so we were like, okay, what are we going to do with this one land? I was like, guys, time to go for broke. So I forgot Prey on the Builders to go search for another major.
It was a Hail Mary.
It was a Hail Mary, and I found Unleash a Torrent of the Self's Own Essence. This card is quite comedic and quite awesome, honestly. This one kind of reminds you of Dragon Ball Z in a way, or at least to me it does. Because this is a card where you can go and sacrifice some of your own stuff to do a massive Iron Man copyright infringement or Kamehameha like energy beam from your own chest and just go absolutely ham with the potential to do so much damage.
However much energy you have.
So, let me go and describe this card. For lo, it is the first time we have discussed this card on the podcast.
Ooh, is this a Jagged Earth card?
It is a Jagged Earth card. Unleash a Torrent of the Self's Own Essence. The picture is a artwork of Volcano looming high with their proud panther statuesque figure, and there is just this molten beam of like laser lava energy erupting from their chest, aiming down at the world.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's pretty dope. So, it has 4 elements that it gives you: a sun, a moon, a fire, and a water. It is a fast power, and it does not target a land, but it targets you. It has to be yourself. This card has an option of 2 things, and it has an elemental threshold. So, the first option is gain 4 energy. You may forget a power card to gain 4 more energy. So, if you do that, then you gain 8 energy. Cool. An energy spiking card, that's quite useful. If it ended right there, you know what? Not bad. By the way, did I mention this is a fast power for only 2 energy? So that's actually not too bad.
Really good.
The second option is pay X energy to deal X damage in a land that you are in. So, you can now see that if you have a butt ton of energy, like Earth, or if you are
Serpent,
or maybe Keeper, or anyone, heck, even Finder can do this.
Sure.
Anyone who has a ton of energy, you can convert your vast energy stores into a massive damage-dealing power. However, it does have an elemental threshold that I mentioned not long ago. For just 2 sun and 3 fire, those elements are very hot, I may add, you may do both of these. So,
which is cheap. Only 5 elements to get the threshold.
That's not so bad.
That's not bad.
So, only 2 sun and 3 fire. Luckily, Sharp Fangs already has a card in their starting hand that gives them a sun. Ironically, this is the only wasted element that Sharp Fangs has in their entire hand. Or at least when I consider this card, it is a wasted element because this element of sun does nothing for your innates. And that card is Terrifying Chase. That is the one card that Sharp Fangs begins the game with that gives them a sun element. Anywho, so you need 2 sun in order to get this elemental threshold to trigger, but seeing how Unleash a Torrent of the Self's Own Essence gives you one, you only need one additional. So I did, and since this card gave me a fire, that means I didn't need 3, I only needed 2 extra. So I only needed 1 extra sun and 2 extra fire. Well, luckily I had a few fire cards in my hand already, so I was able to do both of these. The thing that was so crazy was I was able to go and, with this problematic jungle I had with the single city and town and 8 explorers,
Nice.
I was able to gather 1 beast in there and do 1 damage, which just made an explorer move.
That little panther did its work.
The thing that was funny was I didn't have a presence in that land, so that growth phase, I just went and calmly just
In the
plop
middle
one
of
in
their
there.
army.
We had a hard time putting all the tokens and all the pieces of these invaders on that land, so it kind of seemed funny.
I'm just gonna pretend to be Kermit the Frog here because I'm a beast, and I'm just gonna kind of go in the corner of this jungle right here, guys.
Don't mind me.
Don't mind me here.
And so the
Why
thing
are
that was
there
hilarious was
so many songs about rainbows.
Why
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? Anyway, so what I did was I was able to go and grab this card, Unleash a Torrent of the Self's Own Essence.
I wish I could do what's Piggy. Kermit! I can't do Piggy.
maybe Laura could. I don't
Maybe
know.
I bet Laura could.
Anyway, so then I went and I forgot my card, which was Prey on the Builders, because I didn't really need that one anymore. And so then the way I kind of pictured it was I figured since I added a beast, I was kind of pretending to be Kermit the Frog. So I had this mental picture of there's just one kind of...
I'm impressed you're keeping up this long.
There was one lowly beast that was very quiet and keep to himself.
And then he goes, I'm on fire in Malaysia! Boom! And he just nuked the entire
And then Kermit's
land.
just sipping the tea. Sipping the tea meme.
I knew you'd probably like to live the rest of your life on this island, but that's none of my business.
Boom!
Destruction.
So I had this one beast that was my presence, sorry. I added a presence, but in the lore, thematically, I figured that my one presence was like, I captured a frog.
Yeah.
And I just
You took
went
one of
and...
many minds as
Yeah.
swarm beasts.
So I just pictured like this little beast, and he just kind of waddles up to all these guys and then just vomits this beam of pure
Molten.
energy
Yeah.
that just vaporizes all these things. And so we were actually able to buy one more turn out of
With
it.
one blight left on the card.
We had one blight left on the card.
We're doing great. All we had to do is get 2 of the fear cards.
And
Wait,
so
what comes before?
We had
fear?
gotten the entire fear deck. We had gotten through all of it except for one card. We had 3 fear cards on deck ready to go for the next turn. Not only that, but in the slow phase of that turn, the one that followed the massive unibeam attack, we were able to get all the way up to 3 fear away. We just needed 3 more fear,
3 fear
to
to
get
win.
the final fear card and we'll win. So we went into the last turn, the one afterwards, and I say last turn because we saw that the bad guys were going to add a blight during the invader phase,
Right.
and there was nothing we can do to stop it. Which means that the game will end in defeat this turn if we can't clinch it during the fast phase. We were like, uh-oh.
But we had
Well,
to get through the fear cards.
We have 3 fear cards on deck. We have 1 incoming blight that we cannot stop. We have 3 fear tokens to do. That's it.
Yeah.
For 2 players, we only need 8 fear to get a next fear card, and we had 5 already earned. So we just needed 3, and we were like, okay, well, maybe the event card can get us some fear, and maybe the 3 fear cards that we have on deck, each of them resolving at level 3, can get us just 3 fear.
Guess what?
That wasn't too much to ask for, right? Event card comes in. Nope, nothing. Okay, well, we still have 3 fear cards. First one, replace a bad guy with, like, another bad guy.
That doesn't do fear.
Okay, next one.
Replace a town.
Oh, you may remove
Oh, that's what it was.
some bad guys.
It was like remove a town if something was
Right,
there, or
yeah.
Dahan
We're
or
like,
something.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Last card. Hey, if you have disease in the land, you can remove up to this many health of invaders. We're like, no!
We lost.
We
We lost. We lost.
With an event card and 3 fear cards.
Generate a single fear.
All we needed was just anything to give us 3 fear, and that's not too hard of an ask. In fact, I was actually pretty confident that the fear cards were going to clutch it. Usually when you have 3 fear cards and an event card,
one of them's going to go your way.
Those are 4 cards that any one of which could have maybe got you 3 fear. Come on, I've had fear cards give me more than that.
Right.
We had scapegoats earlier on.
It gave us 6.
Gave us 6 fear.
At tier level 2.
Now, in hindsight, if I had done that Unibeam frog attack on another land that killed more people, we actually could have won. However,
hindsight's 20/20.
We'd have come to this understanding because of hindsight. We didn't know that at the time, and we were trying to stop the one land from damaging. So this is what I meant when I said this was a winnable game if the fear cards hadn't flubbed on us. So...
Still a good game. All right,
it was a great game.
Don't focus on the bad. It was fun.
No, it was fun. And like I said...
You drafted such great cards.
Oh my goodness.
We were synergizing with our base.
We were, as far as personal responsibility, we did everything in our power to get a win, and it was enough for a win. The ending thing was just simply the fear cards.
When it comes down to it, Eric Royce let us down.
He did.
Bad fear cards. I blame the developer.
Ted and all those guys are like, really? You kidding me? You shut your mouth.
It's your fault, not mine. I don't take responsibility.
Like you said, this is one of the reasons why I actually don't feel so bad about this game, because we could have won.
Yeah.
If the fear card was good and if the fear card gave us 3 fear tokens, we would have won. It would be like, yes!
Now I'm like second guessing, like maybe I could have played this to get an additional fear. You know, you started like second
like
guessing.
all the nickel and dime
Yeah,
things.
like maybe I should have played that to get that extra fear.
Right, but you have the benefit of hindsight right now.
I know.
At the time, you didn't know what card was coming up, and you didn't know what
I didn't know that we just literally need 3 fear to win the game.
If I knew that we needed to just get 3 more fear, I would have simply unibeamed somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, but we don't know what would have happened, because at the time, we still had more fear cards to get through, and we only had 1 blight left.
Yeah.
And if they blighted there, we would have lost, and there was no other way to stop it. So we had to unibeam right there.
It was the right thing, it just the fear cards didn't break our way.
So,
Fun game.
There was our game, our most recent game, I should say, against Russia at level 6. I'm proud of us.
Good job,
I'm
buddy.
proud of us. We did get really good event cards in the early and mid game.
Yeah.
Late game, they screwed us over. So, well, hey, ironically, the event cards did something new for me, and they did something not new. The new thing they did for me was the fact that they actually helped me for once.
A lot of the time.
Even twice. The thing that's not new, though, is that they screwed me over.
What was I saying? It's like you go to the casino. You're at the roulette table, you keep betting on black, you're like, I'm up $1,000. I'm winning.
2,000, 3,000.
Look, all right, I'm going to bet one more time on black.
One last time before I go home.
It lands on red.
And you lose it. Awesome. So it does not matter how many times it helped you in the beginning and in the middle. The only thing that matters was that it screwed you over in the end.
Ryan still hates events. It was fun. They were fun.
Yeah, actually.
It was a fun game.
But that's just what happens. Sometimes events screw you over. Sometimes they help you.
Randomness.
But I'm proud of us for how we played, because this was your second time with Many Minds.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
You've never played Many Minds besides
I was like
your very first
relearning
time.
their cards. I'm like, wait, there's 5 again?
And the first time you played with Many Minds, you were in a high player count game where you were trying to help new players.
Right.
They weren't super versed with the game, and so you were kind of helping other people and you weren't focusing on your own board. So you didn't have proficiency with the character. Our events were screwing us over for the end game. And we weren't using lure, which is a wonderful counter.
Cheat code.
That's the cheat code, and I didn't want a cheat code. So I think that we did A-okay for all these things.
I think it was when the Invader card was revealed under the Fear card, those 2 times.
Hey, by the way, if
really
the Blight card was better, we also would have done great.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had a Still Healthy Island, or Back Against the Wall, or Aid from Lesser Spirits, we could have done just fine.
Yeah.
Or, hey, if it was a card that maybe just, I don't know, probably just made you lose a presence or something like that. Heck, it could have even been Tipping Point, and we would have been fine.
We would have been fine with Tipping Point.
We would have been fine with Tipping Point. But whatever. The RNG is what was bad, not our performance. And that is why I'm happy. I know I said basically the synopsis of that. Our performance was good, RNG was bad, and that happens when you have a lot of modular things.
It makes me all the more excited to play Russia again.
Right.
Be like, all right, you're like cracking your knuckles. Like,
as weird as it sounds, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought.
no, and it was honestly pretty fun.
It was pretty fun. It was.
Because sometimes some of these adversaries, like England, you're just like, oh, this is so
Right.
awful. Not awful, like badly designed. It's just like
Right.
they're so difficult. They're
so
always
incredibly
building.
difficult.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there who, if you are unaccustomed with Spirit Island or you haven't done it yet, if you're a newer player, you might think, why are you guys playing beast users against Russia who hunts beasts? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you want to play beasts if you are being hunted by a player who goes after beasts?
Hunt the hunted.
So here's the actual reason why, and that is, if you don't have a beast token user, the ratio of beasts on the board is very much in Russia's favor, because you're only going to have 2 beasts per player on a board without any beast users. Let's see, if you have a 2-player game for we did,
Yep.
if we weren't beast users, there would have been 4 beasts. They would need to kill 3 beasts total, and they would have won.
Yeah.
So the reason why it's actually not a bad idea to play as beast characters is because you can smother the ratio. We had like 20-something beasts on the board.
Oh, we never had to worry about that loss
And they
condition.
never got us, not even once.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, even if they killed 10 beasts,
We'd still be
even
fine.
if they killed 11 beasts, or even 12 beasts, we would have been fine. So what this means is, yes, they can hunt you, and yes, they may even kill you, but you are spamming the board with so many beasts that they can't even keep up. Never mind the fact that you are using those beasts to kill them.
Yeah.
So the more beasts that you have, the less that they are going to be killing.
What helps,
Honestly,
too, is-
they never once did hunters swarm the island.
Yeah.
Not even once.
It was incredible. What helps, too, is the reason they didn't do that is because fangs and mines make the beast so mobile.
They do.
So
So you can evade really well.
Because obviously we blight out and lose.
Yep.
But we were able to move our beasts so they
Yeah.
wouldn't be destroyed by blight. So that is really helpful as a beast user to
So
move them.
that's one thing that you can go and remind yourself, dear new listener, if you haven't played Russia before, and that is, if you're going up against Russia, bring at least one beast user to significantly help you. You don't have to, of course.
Yeah.
And if you want to take Russia on at a lower difficulty than what we described for you here, that's totally fine. They're very hard. I do not blame you for doing such a thing. And if you want to kind of warm yourself into it and kind of, instead of jumping into the deep end of the pool, if you want to go and kind of walk in,
Sure.
that's totally fine. Totally fine. But I would simply recommend have maybe one beast user. You don't have to have all the beast users, but I would say that it wouldn't be a bad idea to do precisely just that.
Yeah, throw in Trickster or Lure,
Yep.
and obviously the 2 we just played.
Yep. So, ironically, we do not have enough time to go into all of the data from our surveys or all of your comments. But don't worry, you can wait for all that in part 2, baby!
And it's going to be jam-packed. We have a lot of data, comments,
We got
votes.
a lot to get through, so hang tight. I hope you didn't mind us talking about our game. I think that's helpful for all the medium to beginner players to hear basically our battle reports. And I hope that you, even if you are someone who's a veteran, I hope you didn't mind a little battle report.
Yeah, it's just fun to hear
Yeah.
about games. I like listening about
Yeah,
it.
don't worry. We got content for you that's on the way. But until next time, we will catch you guys on the Flippity Flap!
You weren't expecting this outro now, were ya? How we doing, everyone? Editing Ryan here, and I'm back again to inform you about our Brandenburg Prussia Adversary Survey. As many of you know, we are in the process of producing our Adversary series, where we'll take a look at each adversary in the game and discuss their strengths and weaknesses, along with any additional comments you all have made. If you'd like to get your thoughts vocalized here on the show, feel free to visit the survey on BoardGameGeek and leave any tips you may have for us over there. I'll leave a link to the survey down in the comment section of this episode on SoundCloud. If you're listening to us from another website, don't worry. You can find us on Facebook as well, where I've posted the link there also. Just type in the Kindred Spirit Podcast in the search bar and look for our logo. It's true that in order to produce a series of this caliber, we will need to gather a significant amount of data, and it will take a considerable amount of time. This will be an ongoing series, but I want you to know that moving forward, we are going to interject other episodes here and there that are completely unrelated to that topic. Right now, it looks like we're going to have to split the adversary analysis episodes into multiple parts, since we have received so much feedback that we cannot get all of it into a single episode. While there will be multiple parts of these episodes, we will not necessarily be covering each next adversary back to back to back. We'll be taking a break from the adversary series every now and then to feature other conversational subject matter that we don't want to ignore. We have some pretty cool ideas and some exciting things coming down the pipeline that I think you'll really enjoy. Stay frosty and make sure to keep your ear close to the ground. Thank you so much for continuing to follow us. Your support means more than you know. Stay active out there, everyone, and more importantly, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay awesome. I'm Editing Ryan, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.